Hi guys, I'm Angel. For today's video, we are going to have fun and we are reminiscing our childhood days. We are going to play a traditional games. So, don't further ado, let's get started.
A hand-clapping game generally involving 4 people. They are split into 2 pairs. A pair having 2 people facing each other, and all members from both pairs facing the center. The 2 pairs being perpendicular to each other. Each pair then does a hand-clapping routine while singing Abdabay Kubo. At the middle of the song, each pair exchanges routines with the other. This game is where players should hold a ball called Holland in their hand, then throw it to hit the player's ball out of playing area. However, obtain the most marbles win the game. Players can also win the game by eliminating their opponents by aiming hitting his marbles. Players need to be very accurate to win. The sipa is then thrown upwards for the player those using their foot. The player must not allow the sipa to touch the ground by hitting it several times with their foot, then sometimes the part of just above the knee. The player must count the number of times they was able to kick the sipa. The one with the most number of kicks wins the game. One pair faces each other from a distance and has the garter stretched around them in such a way that a pair of parallel lengths of garter is between them. The members of the other pair then begin doing a jumping routine over the garters while singing a song 10, 20, and 30 and so on until 100. Each level begins with the garters at ankle height and progress to higher position with the players jumping nimbly on the garters while doing the routines. At the start of the game, there should be one player called Taya. The player should avoid contact or falling over the baka, playing while jumping over. The baka players should start a big kneeling position. All players are to jump over the baka until all the players have jumped. Two players serve as a base of the tinik by putting their right or left feet together, soles touching ground and build the tinik. A starting point is set by all players, giving enough runway for all players to achieve a higher jump so as not to hit the tinik. Players of the other term such jumping over the tinik followed by the other team members. Draw a circle on the ground representing the moon. The must stay inside this circle. Meanwhile, one player as the Bakunawa, the mythical giant sea serpent who will eat the moon. He may not enter the circle but must touch another player who is inside in the order to switch places. Side among the group counting to 60 depending on the agreement of the players. After the countdown, the it person will start to find the other players. If she located the player, she will shout the name of the person, seen them touch the base, then that person will be the next it. Hiding players then save themselves by touching the base while the it person is looking. Once they have themselves, they cannot be owned. Stick game that are good at it. 2 players, 1 plus stick, usually 3 inches, and 1 short flat piece of wood 4 inches, usually a piece cut from the plastic. A player A hitter and player B as the catcher. Play it outside on the ground where you dig a small square slanted hole where you put the small wood so it sticks out. A player A hits the wood with the stick so it catches air enough to be hit by the stick. The farther the wood gets it, the more points you get, usually counted by the number of stick length. The game is started with a toss of hand or depends to the player's decision. However, wins becomes the passer. A time limit of 2 minutes is given to each time to score. Once the limit elapses, the line guard assumes the positions of the passer and vice versa. Passers are supposed to cross the lines from the starting point and back. For line guards are passionated on the vertical line and one on the horizontal line of the court, their feet always be on the line. Line guards tag the passer with powered hands. In any of the passer's tag, the line guard immediately assumes the position of passer even in the 2 minutes limit has not elapsed. There will be 2 bases. Each base has equal members. Mark your base with the base markers. Assign a member to guard your base. To capture the opponents, you must tag them. To capture opponent will be the other team's prisoner. To seal the base of the opponent and win, you must touch their base. Players must have a slippers to hit the can precisely. The it must never go the player zone unless he or she will tag the player without slippers. Players must never go to the IT zone unless he or she throw the slippers. Player must throw the slipper or else he or she will be the it in the next round. The it and will take the can 3 times. If ever player misses the can and no players are in the player zone with his no her slippers, the it will never tag a player if a can is knocked out. At the signal get set, the players stand at the starting line with their stilts. At the signal go, the players mount their stilt and start walking. The first player that reaches and the finish line without getting off the stilts wins. The player's loss is the gets of the stilts and twice before reaching the finish line or gets the split after 2 steps. Each team is composed of 10 to 12 players. A signal given. The first player of each team walks with the coconut shell toward his goal line. Upon reaching the goal line, he turns around with his stick and returns to the starting line. The second, third, up to the last player will do the same. A team whose player walks further than 2 steps after will be disqualified. A team whose player falls twice is disqualified. The participants are asked to gather around the bamboo pole to the order of the climbers. The first climber will position himself at the foot of the pole, while other participants stand behind him and wait for the other chance to show their individual climbing skills. At a given signal, the first participant will scamper up to the pole using his bare hands and feet to try each flag as fast as he can.